Howdy, and welcome back to Over My Dead Pod. I'm today's host, Kylie Colwell.
This is Kate Carter.
And I'm Holly Spear.
For today's story, I picked something I've had on my list of cases to do for a while. There's so much to it, yet really no clear answers. And yes, this is another unsolved murder.
Shout out Kate.
Shout out, Kate.
Oh, great. Love it unsolved.
But this one's very much solvable, and I do believe the more people who are aware of what happened and know what to look for, the killer can be caught. This is the murder of Liz Barraza. Liz was born Elizabeth Marie Nuella, but went by Liz, so that's what I'm going to use today. She was born in Illinois, but moved around, spending time in Missouri, Florida, before eventually settling in Texas with her parents, Bob, Rosemary, and her brother, Robert. Liz's family has been on top of it when it comes to spreading awareness about this case and, of course, finding the perpetrator. They even set up a very, very detailed website with everything about Liz and the whole timeline of events. And when I say detailed, I mean detailed. They have timestamps down to the second. I encourage everyone listening to check out the website whokilledlizbarraza.com, spelled Barraza. And the majority of what I'm going to tell you guys today is directly from that site, since they kind of seem to confirm and disprove other things that have been in reporting. But back to the story. After graduating high school in 2008, Liz enrolled in Stephen F. Austin State University before transferring to Sam Houston State University her sophomore year. This is where she met her future husband, Sergio Barraza. I don't know much about his personal life or life in general before Liz, but we do know that the two bonded over their shared interest, Comic Cons, Harry Potter, Renaissance fairs, and of course, Star Wars.
Love it. That's so cute.
We need hobbies, guys.
Yeah, geez.
I have a baby.
We could start a podcast, like a true crime podcast. That'd be kind of fun.
Okay, we find people's victims or killers' hobbies and we try out their hobbies.
Oh,
Okay.
We might cut that out so no one steals our ideas. But Sergio and Liz joined called the 501st Legion, which was a group in the Houston area that would dress up as Star Wars characters for children's in hospitals. So they go visit them all dressed up. Super cute. They also volunteered for the Peter Mayhew Foundation, who is the guy who played Chewbacca. So you get the gist. Bunch of nerds. They're really good and caring people. After Liz graduated in 2009 with a bachelor's degree in psychology, the couple got married. Liz began working as a data reporter while Sergio worked for his dad, Oscar, as a flooring installer. Things were going well, and the couple were able to buy a nice house in the Princeton Place subdivision in Tomball, Texas in 2016. They even adopted a little puppy, and I love this, a dappled dachshund named Diesel.
Oh my goodness. Just a little baby.
Oh, that's so cute.
So everyone described their marriage as pretty much perfect. There were no issues that anyone knew of. They seemed so in love, etc. In fact, in January of 2019, Liz and Sergio were planning to head off to celebrate their 5th wedding anniversary, and they decided they were going to take a trip to Orlando, stopping at Universal and Disney. They were set to fly out to Orlando on the 27th, a Sunday, and Liz had a spur-of-the-moment idea of holding a garage sale before they left to get some extra cash and be able to buy some goodies and merch for their trip. And she literally thought of this idea on the night of the 24th, the Thursday, planning to start the sale that Friday morning. And
I miss the era of yard sales.
I feel like we had so many when I was a little kid.
Like so many, like it was every weekend you could guarantee going around the neighborhood and there would be at least one yard sale.
And it was always at like 6 in the morning for some
See, I
reason.
don't remember that part. That seems so early.
Little important fact, because this garage sale was so last minute, no one really knew about it. Some reports said that some immediate family knew, but concretely, all the reporting says that it was never posted on social media. The only advertising that was done was a couple of flyers and signs posted around the neighborhood the night before it was set to begin. Around 6 a.m. on January 25th, 2019, Liz woke up early to grab some coffee from Starbucks to get her through the sale. She returned only a few minutes later, and from 6:17 to 6:47, with the help of Sergio, they started to put things out onto tables set up in the driveway. Right at 6:48, Sergio left for work, leaving Liz to tend to the sale by herself. Only 4 minutes later, the first person showed up, and Liz said good morning to them. This person responded with something, kind of hard to tell in the video, but we'll play it later. But only a few seconds later, This person raises their hand and shoots Liz 3 times at point blank range. Once Liz fell to the ground, this person shot Liz again in the head. This person then ran back to their truck, parked on the street, and left the scene. At the same time, a neighbor across the street, Mr. D, called 911 saying he heard 4 gunshots. While on the phone with the 911 operator, the black truck returned, stopped for a second, left, came back again one more time before leaving altogether. While all this is happening, another neighbor, Mrs. B, also called 911 saying she saw someone get shot in her security video. Police arrived and secured the scene only 6 minutes after the first shots rang out. They proceeded to enter the home, setting off the alarms. Sergio, who was at Lowe's down the street, got all these notifications on his phone and logged into the doorbell app, seeing all these cops at home. He was like, what's going on? Talking to them through the camera. They wouldn't say, but they just told him to come home ASAP.
Could you imagine? That's like a worse fear. Or like you seeing a break-in happening or something, like
Yeah.
having to talk to the cops through your doorbell.
I mean, one, seeing the cops at your door, and then
Mhm.
2, them not telling you what's happening.
I'm not gonna lie, I would not immediately think murder. I would think
No.
like Cameron did something.
And I'm not coming home now.
Yeah, I refuse to or like they've caught me, I don't even know what from, but they've caught me.
They called me for something and I don't remember what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So, meanwhile, the security company is calling Liz's phone nonstop, and when she wouldn't answer, they called her emergency contacts, her parents. So Liz's parents arrived at about the same time Sergio did, but no one knew what they were walking up to. By the time they arrived, Liz was still alive, but was life-flighted to Memorial Hermann Hospital. Her parents ended up joining her there, but Sergio was immediately detained for questioning, being released shortly after once police realized he wasn't at home. Liz Barraza was unfortunately pronounced dead the next day at 1:40 p.m. at only 29 years old. She was able to donate her heart, liver, kidneys, and corneas to people in need. On what would have been her and Sergio's 5th wedding anniversary, the family held a vigil right there in the driveway with hundreds of people showing up, plus local news crews. They all raised up lightsabers and Harry Potter wands in the air to commemorate Liz and her love for Harry Potter and Star Wars. Side note, are you guys organ donors?
I am.
I am.
Oh, sweet, all 3 of us. Okay, we're good people.
Yeah, we are. Also, I have a question.
Mhm.
This just curious as well, before you get back to your story. Who's y'all's emergency contacts? Like hers were her parents. So
Mine is my mom, probably.
Yeah, I'm my mom and my dad.
if you're married, is it your partner's like emergency contact, or would it still be your parents?
It probably should be your partner, but I guess it could be your parents too. I guess it doesn't.
I should update mine to someone who's going to actually answer the phone because
That's what I've always thought about too. Like Cameron's my first, but then I usually put my dad and not my mom. Oh my God, wait, you have to cut that. She's going to listen to this. Okay. No, it's first is Cameron and then second's my mom. But I will say my mom would answer in a heartbeat. Like she answers her phone. She's really good.
See, my parents don't answer the phone. That's why maybe I should open up applications for new emergency contacts.
I'll only answer phone calls if you guys FaceTime me. That's the rule.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I will not answer any number that I don't know ever.
So like if it said like 911, you'd be like,
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, now it does that new thing where it does it tells you who it is. But yeah, I would do that if I was, told you. But if it's just a random number, I ain't answering.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Anyways, okay, back to the story.
So while the family was mourning and seeking the public's help in identifying who did this, the police were compiling security footage from the neighbors and were able to create a detailed timeline, which is bananas. We have all this footage, everything going down, but no identification and, of course, no arrest. As I said earlier, Liz left for Starbucks at 6:08, but the timeline actually starts at around 2 a.m. This is when this black Nissan Frontier was first seen on a neighbor's camera, driving right in front of the Barraza home, seemingly casing it out. Police identified the Frontier as a 2013 or newer, and of course, could not read the license plate in the footage, but they checked with the neighbors. None of the neighbors had this car, and none of it had seen it before that night. The truck returned to the neighborhood at 6:47, just 1 minute before Sergio left for work. At the exact same time he pulled out of the driveway in his white van, the truck left and parked in a nearby school's parking lot. Like every other case we talk about, the school's security cameras were not working. A business or a house picked up the truck, leaving only a minute later and driving down a side street where it wasn't seen.
Surprise, surprise on the cameras.
Take a shot every time the camera doesn't work.
If this was a drinking show game, we would say the same things over and over again would be
yeah. What frustrates me though is like obviously this is a newer story and everybody these days has Ring cameras or like, you know, video recording, and their neighbors did have it. How did none of the neighbors get the license plate? Like, wouldn't you think somebody's door would have the license plate? Because the car drove there multiple times.
Well, I guess because the camera is only picking up the side of the car going down the street, like the cameras are in front of the house. And then there's some that seem, from what it looks like, kind of perched like up on the corner of the house, like by the garage, you know?
Oh, more like security.
Yeah, security cameras, but they're too far away and it's dark. So they're kind of like on night vision mode. You can't really make out anything. It's annoying.
That's right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like all the cameras wouldn't be pointing, they'd be pointing straight on, and that would look directly at the road, not, you know,
Yeah.
as a car passed by, you would just see the side of a car, not the back.
Friendly reminder, I need to go adjust my security cameras.
License plates are important.
Just in case.
So this whole truck leaving, coming and going back and forth again happens pretty quickly because the truck is seen again at 6:51, pulling back up to the house. They do a 3-point turn on Liz's street after passing it and then park right behind Liz's car, which was parallel parked on the street. Within the next 30 seconds, this person walks up to Liz. They seemingly exchange a few words. This person shoots her 4 times from maybe at most a foot away and then runs back to their truck.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I'm going to show you guys the video of it happening. It's also up on our blog for the listeners if they want to check it out.
That was just ruthless to honestly.
There's like, I know there's probably tons of theories because I rewatched it a few times and I kept hearing different things.
That's the hardest part. Is like, what the fuck did they say? But also, what is this person wearing?
Looks like a woman, right?
Looks like a woman.
Yeah. I see hair. I see dark, long hair, in my opinion. It's like they say there's like some kind of short exchange between the two, and then she just shoots, and it's just like so ruthless and clean of a shot, you know. It's just like twice and then shoots while they're on the ground too, you know. I don't know, there's just something so creepy about it.
The way that they walk seems like a woman, but then notice also how close she got to Liz, like standing there. Like I wouldn't let a stranger be that close to me. I'd be, especially that early in the morning.
Yeah, it's like less than a foot.
Or someone they're familiar with, you know?
It's either one of two things, like they're familiar with this person, or they are assuming that they're coming to the garage sale and they're trying to be like welcoming, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to talk about what this shooter is wearing because, like Holly said, looks like they either have long hair. Police think either a woman with long hair or a man in a wig. But this person's also wearing a longer white dress, what looks like to me like bathrobe, like it's like knee length, and white boots. Kind of important is that Liz is only 5'2", and the driveway's kind of angled up, so Liz appears taller in the video. So this would make the shooter around the same height as Liz. So that kind of leans more towards woman, very short man. I don't know.
I'm gonna say woman, totally, but. And long hair. I don't understand the outfit either. It looks like, if you just for the first time are looking at it, it looks like a white robe.
Yeah, that's right.
But then the boots don't make sense.
It looks like a dress to me. It's really crazy. I don't think I know none of y'all were in sororities or anything, but when we have like initiation, you have to wear your hair down and you have to wear a completely white dress, and it's just giving me like
it's a sorority girl.
Sorority initiation.
Pictures before.
Oh my gosh.
Something I'm just thinking about, it's weird to one, wear a dress to go murder someone, but also to a completely white outfit to shoot someone like a couple inches away.
Yeah. Yeah. This is weird. This is a weird one. I feel creepy about it.
Another thing, I was just watching it again. If you really, really stare at the person at the end of the video, it almost looks like they like walk up, point the gun, because you can see Liz jumping a little, like moving a little back.
And you can see their left hand goes up.
Yeah. Obviously, they were saying something before.
But some people online think that what the person is wearing resembles a Princess Leia costume, but it's too short. Like Princess Leia wears like a long white gown and has those like cinnamon bun, whatever.
Yeah. I don't want to say I feel like that theory is pushing it, but I feel like that theory is kind of pushing it.
I mean, the hair is definitely down, but I mean, the fact that they wore something white is bizarre, but yeah.
But to go through the rest of the timeline that we do have, because police have been releasing this footage slowly through the years, at 6:54, only a minute after leaving, the truck returns and drives past the driveway, seemingly to check if Liz was still alive. And this is all happening while the neighbors are on the phone with 911. And the truck leaves once again and comes back one more time before vanishing. So this person really wanted Liz dead.
Wanted to make sure she was dead. Dead. That's pretty bold to come circle back to the scene of your crime. Really.
Several times.
Yeah. I mean, you think you'd hightail it out of there.
If you shoot someone 4 times and at least one of those times is in the head, like how many times are you going to go back to check?
And in a residential neighborhood, you have to know that people are looking out their windows. They're gonna see your vehicle. I guess nobody really did, but I mean, you would assume that they would. So you'd be getting out of there as fast as possible.
So from what has been released publicly, the truck wasn't seen on any other footage outside of the neighborhood, so where it goes, we don't know. Prevailing internet theory is that the truck left the neighborhood off-road, kind of through the back, the opposite direction of where the police and EMS entered at the entrance of the neighborhood.
Doesn't the map show that the exit, though, that they think they went on is like grass? Like it's behind houses.
Yeah. There's just one street in the neighborhood in the back of it. It ends in a cul-de-sac. And then there's like patch of grass, kind of a field, like, where like the power lines go, where it's cleared.
Yeah.
That enters off to the big road. So it's not like impossible to drive down, especially not in a truck. But no one would really see you go down there.
Yeah.
So the police have not released much about this case, but are still actively working on it. So I can't really update you on what they're doing. But I do know that in 2023, the FBI and the Texas Rangers joined the Harris County Sheriff's Office for the investigation. In the early stages of the investigation, the police confirmed that no shell casings were found at the scene, indicating that a revolver was used. 3 of the bullets were still in Liz's body when she was taken to the hospital, while 1 exited. Police also confirmed that nothing was stolen. Even the money box Liz had set out with $100 in it was still on the table undisturbed. In 2019, the sheriff's office announced that they were waiting on the results of a warrant, but of course did not say what it was for, who it was for, and what came from this. In 2021, they announced that investigators drove down to Miami to speak to a person of interest, but you guessed it, no further information. I did find a really good article on medium.com by Alex Lewis. I'll link it in the blog, but Alex did a bunch of freedom of information requests and was able to pull a lot of stuff. Alex also has a bunch of photos taken by neighbors and the public in the area. So one of the things that Alex was able to find is the incident report naming a couple of involved persons. So this isn't like a list of people that are suspects, but more like people that need to be talked to for some reason. So they could be like family and friends that knew Liz and Sergio. They could be neighbors, witnesses, etc. The last names are blacked out, but the first names are Dylan, Derek, Gabriella, Justin, and Pauline. And I cannot find any of these names in any other reporting, so I literally have no idea who they are or their relation. I don't want to call them suspects, so don't take my words out of context. Another report that Alex got a hold of was the events notes, which is basically the timeline of everything police did that day, from arriving, collecting footage, and logging evidence. These notes state that at 7 a.m. exactly, a bolo or be on the lookout was issued for this black truck. Only 5 minutes later, a truck matching the description was pulled over on Kai Kendall Road, which is the big main road outside of the neighborhood. The officer that pulled that truck over got the driver's details and the vehicle's VIN number, ran them through the database, and then let the driver go.
I do not understand that. Just because nothing popped up, like they ran the VIN number, nothing popped up, so they let them go.
You run the VIN number and it didn't show that they just murdered someone 5 minutes ago?
Oh, you're good. Come on.
Like, how did they know? Yeah, I don't get, especially since that was what they were looking for in the same place.
So they questioned him at his truck. They didn't like take him down to the police station or her. And they were like, this is where you were at. Okay, cool, go.
Apparently so. So Alex was the guy who wrote this article, super confused. And he had a woman named Maria who lived in town go down to the police station to figure out what the hell happened during this traffic stop. Maria was able to speak to a deputy who confirmed that there's only one person in the truck. There was nothing suspicious about them, and this person had a strong alibi and was completely cleared, not a suspect at all. So I guess this person had proof that they just happened to be driving by or they didn't match the description. Who knows? Not in a white dress. I don't know, but they cleared him.
Either way, that would not persuade me. I mean, you'd have to show me a document that said you're on your way back from being in jail or something.
Oh, but it was 5 minutes after the incident, right? Or 5 minutes after the cops arrived, or
yeah,
that's like
weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming and I'm hoping that they probably brought the guy back in later to double check. But again, crossing my fingers on that one.
You are thinking very positive, Kylie. I love it.
It's so hard with this one because the police aren't saying anything.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't want to like, yell at them for not doing their job because I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we know, we've said it a million times before, they don't release stuff that they know to preserve the investigation. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Kylie's a good person.
This one time.
This once.
I'm also hoping police track down the trucks in the area matching the description, but of course, finding a truck in Texas is basically an impossible task without a license plate, especially if the truck isn't from Texas or if it has been concealed since the shooting. But big shout out to Alex Lewis. I recommend checking out his article. It's super in depth and he has a lot of concealed information. While everything else is very much under wraps, the sheriff's office announced a $5,000 reward for information. The Peter Mayhew Foundation added $15,000 and the 501st Legion added another $5,000 to the growing reward. The current reward for information leading to an arrest is at $50,000, with the last donation coming from Crime Stoppers of Houston. Now let's get into my favorite part of any of the unsolved cases is the theories. Since the shooter seemed to know when Liz and Sergio would be up and leaving for work, it led many to believe that the shooter knew them personally. They might not have known about the garage sale, and that may just be a coincidence, because reports say Liz usually was up that early anyways and would leave for work at around the same time. Sergio also left for work at around the same time. So if the killer knew at least this, they knew Liz would be alone in the driveway. Then another thing was, like, the shooter planned to shoot Liz at this specific time. When she left at 6 a.m. to go to Starbucks, the truck wasn't there, and apparently she sat in her driveway for a couple minutes, on her phone before she left. So that would have been, not to say a good time, but a good time to shoot her if they wanted to. So the shooter had a specific time to do it.
Yeah. Or because the person had showed up and was checking out their house for hours that whole entire morning. They were just working up the nerve to shoot her at this point. Because you're right, they could have done it when she was in the car and stuff. But also, if you bring a revolver to a party, I feel like that's just purposely trying to not leave evidence.
To a party?
I mean, party as shooting.
That's a good saying. A good quote. If you bring a revolver to a party,
it's not good. It's planned. Good. It's planned is what I'm trying to say.
No, this is very planned.
Yeah. I think when Liz left and to go to Starbucks and the person could have maybe not even killed her at the house. They could have killed her at Starbucks. I think they were waiting for an opportunity and maybe needed to work up the nerve to do it.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
I guess we would have known if they followed her to Starbucks though, right? Wouldn't it be on the cameras?
I assume we would have heard of something.
Her neighborhood cameras. I mean, if they saw the truck circle around before shooting her, they would have seen her leave and a car behind her follow.
Yeah.
I guess maybe the point was that if she's out in the driveway at this time, no one else is out there? No witnesses?
Yeah.
So with all that said, plus the fact that the shooter just happened to arrive 1 minute after Sergio left for work, the main theory circulating around on the internet is that Sergio arranged a hit on his wife. The main thing people are focusing on is the fact that Sergio had a $250,000 life insurance policy on his wife, which internet rumors say double if she was murdered. Sergio has never cashed this.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say also, I've never heard of that. Just listen to this. So it's called DI. It's a life insurance provision that pays out double the face value of the policy if the policyholder dies in an accident. However, many insurance policies now have the exception to this coverage that says murder is not an accident.
I can see that point.
So at some point that did happen, but now people have maybe used it before to get money, and so they stopped doing that.
We've heard of a couple cases like that. I'm not sure if Sergio hasn't cashed this just because he hasn't chosen to, or if he's not allowed to until someone is convicted, or if he's been cleared. But Sergio has been very cooperative with police. He even voluntarily gave them his phone and Liz's. And police have stated that there's no evidence of any type of affairs on either side, no trouble in their marriage in general, and no financial troubles.
Yeah, that's where that makes me not believe that
he was the one
to do with it, because we always see in cases like this, they uncover some kind of dirt on the family or the person, unfortunately, the victim.
Yeah.
And there's something. This seems like a regular woman that everyone loved. This is just crazy case.
Yeah, even cases where someone is innocent, had nothing to do with it, people still have dirt.
Yeah, it all comes to light when there's an investigation like this.
And there's also no evidence of any sort of payments made for a possible hit, which could easily be tracked. So, like I said earlier, police did release the dash cam footage from when they questioned Sergio at the scene. I'll put the whole 30-minute video on this episode's blog for the listeners to check out too. But I sent the girls the video a little bit earlier to review. I'm going to give a quick little summary for those who don't want to check it out, and then I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
It was 7:47 when I looked at my clock, or 7:42, or right around there. And then I leave, and then I just saw on the camera, this vehicle pulls up and turns around, I guess right there, and then, I don't hear anything for a second, and then I just hear the 4 shots and her scream, and that's it. I can show you the video. No, I've never seen the vehicle ever. I think I'm like, damn, you know anybody that's the only thing I can think of is, I don't even want to consider it that, because we're a part of a charity group, and we're going through these little election things, and there's a couple people that just don't get along with us, but I'm not enough to fucking come over and shoot my wife. It's a woman that...
So the video starts off with Sergio explaining what time he left for work and hearing the gunshots on the security video when he checked them later. It was probably shock, but he said he left for work at 7:47. The correct time was 6:47. The video doesn't start until 7:40. So I'm assuming the officer asked if there were any people that Liz was having issues with, because Sergio brings up a woman whose name is bleeped that Liz was having some disagreements with regarding elections in their 501st Legion group. The officer either doesn't seem to ask any follow-up questions about this, or they cut the audio when they released the footage. One point that was clear is that Sergio says he didn't recognize the truck in the video. After this, Sergio volunteers up his phone to let officers see the security footage.
Oh my God! Yeah, we're part of a group called the 501st Legion. It's a Star Wars charity group, man. We help out kids and stuff. What's your wife's name? Elizabeth. E-L, yeah. E-L-I-Z-B-E-T-H. And what's her last name? Barraza, same as mine. B-A-R-R-A-Z-A. B-A-R-R-A-Z-A. And what's her birthday? It's, June 26, 1989. Where's my phone going? I'll take the case off. Who in this photo? I really don't think it's that way. I think can you get back to yeah.
He then fully begins to break down and dives into the 501st Legion and the seemingly little drama. The officer brings up this woman again, but Sergio was like, I don't think it's related. To him, whatever issue was going on couldn't possibly rise to the level of murder.
The only person we got issues with, but I think so. I got a star on Facebook or whatever. How do y'all know her? It's just just be the club. You know any more information about her? I'm sorry? You know any more information about her? I just know she's got black hair, pale skin, white Yeah. Where does she live, you know? I don't, Southside. This is a local journey. Yeah. Anybody else you think of? No, sir. I really think this was just some asshole fucking robbing her for $100. But this place probably.
He goes on to describe the woman. She's white, fair skin, with black hair. But he doesn't know much else about her and can't think of anyone else causing problems. Now, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on his whole demeanor and what he's saying, because a lot of the comments on Reddit are like, he's threw out this woman's name very quickly, and it's kind of weird. He gave up her name quickly, but then he's like, oh, it's not really an issue. Like, it's so little. I don't know if that's literally the only thing he can think of.
What I wrote down to ask is why would you bring up someone's name if you weren't at least a little suspicious?
I mean, I think that if it was me, I would name every single tiny, minute little thing that could possibly be taken as controversy between them, you know, like anything that could help, especially if you really genuinely wanted to help.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. I'm just like running through your head, like every bad situation.
Almost thinking out loud of anything that could be remotely possible. I'd be going over every situation I could.
I think that's a good point.
If I'm killed or if I get shot, because did he know that she was dead yet? She wasn't dead yet.
She wasn't dead yet.
Okay. If I'm shot up and I'm being flight lifted to a hospital and they ask you, are there any people you're suspicious of? Would you say people? But then retract, well, who would you say? Do you have a name?
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
Like if Kate got murdered and they came to me and they said, are there any girls that you know don't like Kate? I would say, okay, well, let me think. I'd be like, there's this one girl that doesn't like her. But then, I'd be like, she probably didn't kill her.
And see, that's exactly what that is he immediately thought of like someone maybe who didn't like her. And then immediately was like, you know what? But I don't think she'd ever do it.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Well, that means that person needs to be investigated regardless. Like if he brings up, or if her name's even thrown in the pile.
You got to at least talk to her.
Yeah. I also assume that it would be pretty easy to tell how tall that person was just by measuring it off of, the trees in the video or bushes or how tall things are, So I feel like they could rule out suspects pretty easily.
But then also they're in boots, so maybe they're even shorter and they got those little lifts that men have been wearing lately.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the actual story. Some people have pointed out Sergio giving up her name quickly seemed kind of scripted, like this was his plan all along, like whether he hired this person and he's like maybe put on a wig to look like this other girl that she's been having problems with. I'm assuming that police did talk to this girl in the 501st Legion, but of course, as of yet, no one has been named as a suspect. Sergio maintains to be cooperative with police, coming in for interviews and giving interviews to the media. He's also given several polygraphs, which he has passed. But Sergio has gotten a lot of shit online for remarrying, but he maintains that he and his new wife didn't meet until over a year after Liz's murder. Personally, I don't think Sergio is involved. We would have had some sort of evidence. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I want to point out something. Wait, what'd you say, Holly?
I said I agree with Kylie.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate then, because he doesn't seem too suspicious, but I do want to point out, I watched that video. It's a long video, but I watched it multiple times today because Millie would like start talking in the middle of it and I'd have to restart it. So I watched it multiple times. Something that I did pick up on that we haven't talked about is that Sergio has his criminal justice degree.
True. I didn't think of that.
And that immediately I was like, wait, what'd they just say? And they were like, he even spit it out. They never asked him. It really had nothing to do with the conversation, but he said something like, he was like, yeah, I know. I have my criminal justice degree. And I was like, ooh, interesting.
What the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm crazy. I don't know what to do. I've given them all I can. I don't know when we can go and see her.
Sure, look, here, I'll help you out. So, what's going to end up happening is the detectives come here. They'll have to ask probably more or not the same questions that we asked you.
I understand.
And
I have a criminal justice degree, so I kind of get the process of it.
Right now, our main goal is to do what? To find the person who did this.
Yeah.
Weird thing to say.
Weird thing to say.
Point out, yeah. Either Sergio's completely innocent, or he has
It's very smart.
very smart, really pulled it off.
Right. And I mean, I will say, I don't think it was like obviously the life insurance because he never cashed it. Nothing that they knew of was wrong in their life. So that makes me think, like, what if there was marriage issues and nobody knew? And even him spitting out that girl's name wasn't it because they went against each other in like a race at the Legion's house or
Yeah,
whatever,
there's
like
some kind of
political.
election. I don't know.
Yeah. So like he was just trying to spit out somebody's name.
So I think we're all on the same page in thinking that this was personal, done by someone who knew Liz in some sort of way. We can also cross off a case of mistaken identity since the shooter cased the house and walked up to Liz, talked to her, and shot her from basically inches away.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you guys another video from the shooting, this time with the audio from the Ring doorbell on Liz's house. I want you to have a listen, think about what is said, if you can hear anything. Personally, the only thing I can hear is about halfway through Liz saying good morning, but the rest is a bit iffy and there's a lot of different interpretations. But for listeners, just a warning, you can hear the 4 gunshots and screaming. But here it is.
I was thinking about this when watching the first video too. You know how the shooter walks up? They basically immediately point their gun from what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then they say, dun 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 dun. Dun. But it sounds like in my head, I keep hearing, give me the gun now, or I'll shoot you. And then they immediately shoot. Like, but I also know that you can just hear shit.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel like I interpreted. And I heard it in this one as well. But it also says, I was reading through the comments that people were hearing other things, and I have no idea where they got at 1:45 when it says, is she dead? I literally do not hear that.
I don't hear any words personally. Every time people say that they can hear stuff, I don't ever hear what people say that they can hear. I don't know if these people are making stuff up, but I can't hear a thing. I mean, I can hear muffles, but
No, same boat. The only thing I can make out is the good morning. But I wouldn't have picked that up unless someone said that. I was like, okay, the cadence matches that.
Yeah, like if you tell me they're saying good morning, I can match that in my head maybe, but
that's what I'm thinking is like, I'm just hearing. I hear them clearly, the sound of talking. I just don't know the words. They were definitely very blunt with their whole approach and shooting and everything. Like they came very close. They said something and she didn't respond and immediate.
It was planned and fast and they knew what they were going to say. And yeah.
Which kind of like contradicts the theory of this person like building up the courage to do it by like driving around so often.
What time exactly did the shooting happen at? And my follow-up
Mm.
question to that is, what time did her husband leave?
So the shooting happened at 6:52. Sergio left at 6:48.
Okay, that is really suspicious. I think now I retract what I said about the shooter, like working up the courage. Now it was waiting for Sergio to not be in the house when it happened.
Oh yeah, they're sitting there waiting, watching, like, come
Yeah.
on, leave. And the moment he does,
Yeah, I think it's the whole timing is suspicious. Now, the whole recording definitely sounds like a man's voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's weird. I don't have anything
I
to say about
hear,
that.
I hear a man and a woman. I hear no words. I feel like the pitch and the tone is. I hear two voices, man and woman. That's about it.
So would that be Liz and the shooter?
But then the audio is like longer than the whole interaction. It's weird. But then we only see like one person besides Liz. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like I get bad vibes from Sergio leaving 4 minutes before the shooting. The person pulls up. In the video, it looks like a woman.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they walk, that their gait is, the height, the hair, the outfit looks all female. So in the recording, when it's now just the audio, it sounds like a man, but I honestly like everything else sounded weird too, So I don't think I think it was just bad audio.
Is this the camera that captured the audio? Is this the one from across the street, the same angle as the what we see the truck drive up and shoot, or is this a different?
No, so the video is from the neighbor's camera across the street, and then the audio is from Liz's doorbell camera.
So she
Gotcha.
was obviously much further away.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I trust audio from like across the street. Like, is your TV on? Are people in your house talking?
Now we're even more confused if the shooter was male or female, but in a press conference where Liz's dad pled for answers, an officer seemingly confirmed that at least they believe that the shooter is a female, just based on the height and posture. But one new person that came up from God knows where, who is a man, was Oscar Barraza, Sergio's dad. So some internet rumors that Sergio mentioned his dad as a suspect in one of his interviews. These posts allege that Sergio became estranged from his father after the murder, which is a bit odd if true, because he is his dad. He also worked for him. There are other rumors that Liz complained to Oscar about a check given to Sergio that bounced, alleging that Oscar was having financial difficulties. Again, does that like rise to the level of murder? But then again, it's like if you're a crazy person, you might just murder someone over that. I don't know.
But like is that also hearsay? Like there's no
Sergio did confirm that Liz confronted him about the bounce check.
That makes me think though, again, like, was it actually Sergio's dad that did this or was it Sergio? Like it could have gone either way. And because Sergio's the one that brought his dad's name to the police, right?
Yeah.
I'd fucking estrange my child as well if they said I murdered somebody and I didn't.
That's true. Yeah. Is he just naming people?
Like, yeah. So then that would kind of I feel like regardless, since he's the one that brought him to the cops, after getting cleared, Sergio and his father were like, we're not speaking. You accuse me of murder.
Yeah.
That's a good reason to end the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, is he accusing him of murder, or are the cops like pulling out information when they're questioning him and being like, well, has there been any family drama? And he's like, well, there was this bounce check with my dad. Is it, I don't know. I'm like suspicious on how the information gets like portrayed,
That's true. Yeah. It could just be something simple like, oh, this happened, but like the girl in the 501st Legion, it wasn't really anything, but that's all he can think of.
He just needed a name to spit out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But your dad? Like, come on, man.
Again, crossing my fingers that police checked Oscar out, made sure he had an alibi, or if he made payments to anybody, of course, check to see if he had a truck or knew someone with that truck. Some other theories thrown around also don't make sense, like a case of mistaken identity, like we talked about. It was too planned out.
Yeah.
Another theory circulating is that this was a gang initiation. So the theory of it or excuse of a gang initiation comes up in a lot of cases with no clear answers, and it got me thinking, are they even really a thing? Holly?
I say that they exist. Are they a thing? Like, kind of like, oh, the satanic panic thing? Is it a thing? Probably not. But does it happen? Has it happened? Yeah.
Satanic panic was a thing, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, it happened. It's just like, it's overused.
Yeah, so it's not as common as we think it is. Apparently, it's pretty rare, especially nowadays. Most gang initiations apparently involve being beaten up by a senior member, or if it's a crime, it's something like armed robbery. It's not something that's like super well planned out, stake out of a specific person.
I feel like that's always the excuse when there's no, like,
Yeah.
they don't have anything clear at the moment. I think they do exist for sure, but I have personally cannot think of a single story that ended up being it, like that's not
Not the one I sent you yesterday.
Holly knows of one.
okay, well, that one, but I personally, before that, had never heard of that, like that actually being the case. I just thought it was more of like they say that, but they never get caught, or it just doesn't happen as much as we think.
Okay, so we don't think gang initiation.
Mm-mm.
So then the next theory is, did someone hire a hitman? Which obviously we have no, at least we know of, financial records for this. But I watched this movie the other night called Hitman on Netflix, starring Glenn Powell, who I have to say, very cute. Are you Googling him now?
No, I know who Glenn Powell is. I just mean the movie. I haven't heard of it. I have no idea.
It's all right. It's not a bad movie. It's all right. But in the beginning, he starts with this like little monologue about how hitmen are just kind of like a myth. So then I went down this rabbit hole, like, oh, are they really? Pretty much are. Like, there's no one hitman for hire you can really find. And most of them, like on the dark web, are just scams trying to get your money.
Or the police.
The people that like who kind of are hitmen are men assigned that role like within gangs or cartels, but they're not, you can't just hire them outside of their normal job responsibilities.
Yeah, that's one that I've always felt like did not really exist. I mean, I feel like, people kill people for other people that they know, but they're not hitmen.
But it's weird, it's like you're gonna like risk your life in prison or like the death penalty for money. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, for someone you like don't even know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, as a hitman. That's why I'm like, I think it's just people for hire.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you pay
It's not
someone
like an
a
occupation.
full-time job. Yeah.
More of a part-time.
It's a hobby.
It's a babysitting gig. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gig. It's a gig. That's a good one.
Okay. So I know the story was a bit all over the place, a lot of theories, but that's just kind of where the case sits today with no answers. In January, for the 5th anniversary of Liz's murder, the investigators and family held a press conference providing updates and asking for more help. Investigators assured that the case is not cold and has never been. It's being actively worked. They didn't dive into exactly what they're doing, but hinted at reaching out to different agencies and companies to enhance the video footage. The lead investigator, Homicide Sergeant Michael Ritchie, said they've tracked down or looked into tips from all around the world, but none have panned out yet. He encouraged people to call in tips if they have any, as they could definitely use them. Tips can be submitted online to the Crime Stoppers of Houston or called in at 713-222-8477. The current reward for information leading to an arrest is at $50,000. While police are working this case, Liz's family are doing so much work to get the word out, hoping the more eyes on it will lead someone to call in a tip saying they know who the killer is or at least who the truck belongs to. Sergio is also helping and has been nothing but cooperative. He also still has their dog, Diesel. Sergio also still has the suitcase that Liz had packed for their trip to Orlando, ready to go, kept like a time capsule. But to end on a brighter note, Liz's friend Marcy Shelley created a charity called the Liz Library Project. This charity group donates complete Harry Potter book sets and gives them out to kids receiving cancer treatment at local hospitals.
I really like that. That's so sweet.
We should donate.
I'm really sad. Yeah, we should. What's it called again?
Yeah, put a link in the show notes.
I will. It's called the Liz Library Project, and they have a direct link to it on the whokilledlizbarraza.com. And that was a very odd, frustrating, but still developing story of the murder of Liz Barraza, a sweet, caring young girl taken for seemingly no reason.
This story frustrates the crap out of me. It just doesn't make any sense. Like there's enough evidence that there should be, or no, there's enough like viewing things that there should be more evidence.
Yeah, you have the whole thing on video, but there's no like other physical
And
evidence.
audio. I'm just so, I think that's a really big thing. There's two things that really point out or stick out to me in this case is first of all, Sergio leaving 4 minutes before the killing happened. That's just a wild coincidence. That would be nuts, you know? And then the second thing was the truck that matched the description driving away from the neighborhood 5 minutes later is also bananas.
That Alex Lewis guy was able to pull all of the trucks like that year or newer that they think it is in at least that town. And there's probably like maybe a little over 20. So
It's not a crazy amount.
No, and it is a super weird coincidence.
Like super weird. And the whole Sergio leaving a few minutes before. Like those, if those are coincidences, which the police have taken them to be, that's just nuts to have two back to back.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a case that we see solved definitely in our lifetime, but this is going to be something that we see soon that's solved. I think it's just so solvable, and I feel like they have enough information. They should be able to find who it is.
It's hard. I think police have everything they can gather. I think it's just going to take someone speaking up.
And somebody will crack as time goes on.
Yeah.
It will come up eventually.
We hope.
My theory in the end is it was a woman who, part two, this two things, either had a vendetta for some reason against her or was paid by Sergio to kill her. And that's all I've got.
And with that, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Over My Dead Pod. If you want even more information, including photos and videos from the case, you can check out our blog on overmydeadpod.com. Be sure to leave us a review wherever you're listening to this and check us out on social media at Over My Dead Pod. And we'll see you next week with another case. Bye.
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 Okay, we're gonna jump into overtime, and I want to start it off. I created a little notes app so we can share overtime topic ideas, and someone who I recently found out was Holly added to the list, "Are leaf blowers rude?" So I would love for Holly to explain this topic further because we're confused.
It doesn't make any sense.
Take it away, Holly. Hi, this is Kylie editing the episode right now. Just want to jump in real quick. And just a heads up and apology because the audio becomes the absolute worst after this because my mic unplugged. Of course, just my audio. So again, apologies, but here's the rest of overtime.
Well, I was doing my first yard work and I was gonna blow leaves or blow the grass that had been mowed, that's just like sitting on top of the grass. But I was gonna blow it, and I was like, where do I blow it to? And I realized not only are leaf blowers annoying, they also just blow your stuff out of your yard into either the road or someone else's yard usually. So I just think they're rude.
Usually they blow things into the direction where you point it to.
I know, but what's the point? Like
a leaf blower is the next door neighbor, Karen, like you don't want your leaves on your patio, but you will put them into your neighbor's patio.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and they it's not like they blow them into a pile and then you can clean them up. No, they're specifically to blow them somewhere else.
It's someone else's problem once you blow it away. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So are they rude?
They're inherently
thought about this.
They're just, and them in themselves are rude.
Okay. What I thought you meant by the note was the noise they made.
I did too. I wasn't expecting there to be like an explanation for this, but now I'm kind of like on Holly's side. Like leaf blowers, whoever created them was being a petty little bitch.
Yeah, like let's put it on someone else. Either you blow it into the road or your neighbor's yard, but leaf blowers are to say it's not my problem. They're annoying while you're doing it.
I do love a good leaf blower, but you're blowing leaves into a pile to then pick up, not helpful, because I would rather just let the pile sit there. Now I will say for like, we have a patio, we don't have a backyard. So like if I blow the patio with a leaf blower, I'm just blowing those leaves outside onto the grass. And then it's not my problem anymore.
So you're rude.
So I'm rude.
Part of the problem. But everyone that uses a leaf blower is part of the problem.
It is. It is.
So that is why I believe that leaf blowers are rude.
So did you stop using your leaf blower?
Is the alternative
I
pick
don't
things
even-
up by hand or what?
I don't even have a leaf blower. And so my grass
Then where
is-
did you get one? Weren't you gonna use one?
well, I was gonna borrow one, but I'm
Oh.
just saying, like, then it just got me thinking, where do I blow this to? And I have neighbors on either side of me. And then I was like, if you blow it in the road, that's kind of frowned upon too. So like, what's the point of a leaf blower? And then it got me thinking.
I see your train of thought, and I think I agree with you.
Thank you.
I feel like I need to be like on a substance in order to like continue this conversation. Like, let's trip out and talk about how leaf blowers aren't nice.
This is like what goes on in my mind, you know?
Yeah.